Okay, so we're doing page 11, and we're still talking about who we are. Let's see. Would you like to read, Rashid, would you like to read the first part where it says unity in diversity? Would you like to read that part, please?
Unity and diversity. Okay, John Bachan, the first Baron Tweedsmuir, was a popular Governor General of Canada, 1965 to 1940. Migrant groups, he said, should retain their individuality and each make its contribution to the national charter, national character. Each could learn from the other, and while they cherish their own special loyalties and traditions, they cherish not less than new loyalty and tradition which springs from their union. Canadian Club of Halifax, 1937, the 15th Governor General is shown here in blood canal First Nation. Headdress.
Yeah, headdress. Yeah, very good. I just want to show you that picture that they're talking about. You can see it in your book, but see, this is him. This is called, yeah, this is First Nations headdress. That's what they call a headdress. Yeah, it's feathers. Yeah. Okay. So he was, the important part of what this is unity in diversity. Unity in diversity. So what does diversity mean again? Remember that word diversity? What does that mean? Anybody? Diversity.
Is the same multicultural, Brian?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, that's what it means. So it means Canada is strong. Unity means we're all together, right? That's unity means a unit is one thing. So when it says unity in diversity, it's kind of a interesting way of saying it, because it means we are all together when we are all different. Yeah, it's kind of funny, but that's what Canada does. And this was one of the first people to make sure we understood this idea. And try to remember his name, John Buchan, I think you pronounce it. And he was a governor general. He was a governor general. But unity in diversity, we're together, we're strong together when we are all have our own ideas, when we do things together. So it's just exactly the same as multiculturalism, exactly the same, and pluralism. They're all the same thing. But he wrote it down, unity and diversity, and it says basically that we have our own loyalties and ideas. We should keep them from our other countries, but we should make them just as strong as the new loyalty and ideas we have for Canada. That's what he's saying there. Yeah. So that was, try to remember his name, and try to remember he was a governor general. He was a popular governor general, and then that's what it means. That's what unity in diversity means, because those are questions that come up in this part here. Good. Let's see. Okay. Manal, would you like to read this one here? Talking about the Inuit people. Inuit.
The Inuit, which means the people in the Inuktitut.
Well, really close. Yeah, very close. Inuktitut.
Inuktitut.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Langui live in a small scattered
yeah
communities across the earth. Archist,
Good. Arctic. Good.
there's Q, no, nucleic, no,
Really close. Keep trying.
Ne-
Knowledge.
n-
Knowledge.
knowledge of the land. Sa, sea, and will, will it live? Well, they live. Well, they live.
Yeah. Wildlife. Wildlife.
While the life and bullet them to adapt to one of the harshest in environmental en, environmental
Really close.
environmental
Yeah, environments.
environment on it earth.
Yeah, good. Yeah, there's some difficult words there.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the different Aboriginal groups, right? Last time we were studying this, we studied the First Nations, right? They were called Indians, and then they called them First Nations. And now we're talking about the Inuit. And try to remember this, their name, that word Inuit means the people. And their language they speak is Inuktitut. So try to remember that because that's a question. The word Inuit means the people. And they live in small, do you know what this word scattered? Does anybody know what that word means, scattered? Ever seen that before? Scattered means it's there like say you had a handful of stones and you threw them on the floor. That would be scattered. You scattered them on the floor. So that means they live in small communities or villages, but they're spread out. They're spread out around across the Arctic. So northern Canada, the Arctic is huge. It's very big. And so these Inuit people live in small communities that are really far apart from each other in the huge Arctic. So that's what scattered means. Try to remember that too, because that is a question too. They live in small scattered communities across the Arctic. Yeah. And then, so how do they live? How do they survive? Because it's one of the harshest environments. Harsh means very difficult. The environment means place to live. So the Arctic, the north, is a very, very difficult place to live because it's so cold. But they live there for thousands of years because they know the land, they know the sea, and they know the animals. And so that's how wildlife means animals. So they've been able to live in one of the harshest environments, one of the most difficult places on Earth, anywhere. Yeah, so the three things to remember here, Inuit means people. They live in small scattered communities in the Arctic, and they're able to live there in the harsh environment because they know the land, the sea, and the animals, the wildlife. Yeah, very good. Okay, so let's see. Gazala, would you like to read this part here, the Métis? Can you read that part?
Yes, Brian. The Métis are a distinct people of mixed Aboriginal and European ancestry. The majority,
Very good. Ancestry, very good.
the majority of women live in the live in the bright live in the barrier provinces. They come from both French and English speaking backgrounds and speak their one dialect dialected manship.
Mid-chief. Yeah, and could you do the numbers there too about?
Yes, about 37%, 65% of the Aboriginal people are First Nations, while 13% are Métis and 4% Inuit.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so the Métis, that is a French word. That's why they have, see that little accent over the E, accent aigu? That's a Métis. So it's a French word. And what the Métis are, always men, pretty much men from Europe. So men from both England and France, they married Aboriginal women. And sometimes European women would marry Aboriginal men, but usually it's European men marry Aboriginal women. And their children are Métis. And so they come from both English and French speaking backgrounds. And they live mostly in the prairie provinces, mostly in Manitoba. And they have their own dialect. Have you anybody heard that word dialect before? Ever heard that word dialect? A dialect is like it's like a way of speaking. It's kind of like an accent, maybe like an accent, but they have their own their own words too, because you would think the Aboriginal words and the English words and the French words all mixed together. So they have their own accent, but they also have their own words. So dialect is mostly accent though. And their dialect is Michif. And so I'm going to tell you what to remember because there's some questions here. And then this is a question too, breaking down of the three groups. So Aboriginal people, so First Nations, 65%, Métis, 30%, Inuit, only 4%, very, very small amount. So First Nations, 65, Métis, 30, and then Inuit, only 4%. Yeah, okay. So let's think what to remember here. Métis, mix of Aboriginal and European. The prairie province is where they live. Their dialect is Michif. They come from English and French. And then this breakdown here, try to remember this, 65% First Nations, 30% Métis, 4% Inuit. Okay, so let's try to do some questions now. We've done a bit of reading. Let's try to do some questions. I'll make this a little bigger for everybody. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Diallo, were you here at the beginning? Were you here?
Yeah.
Okay, could you do this one then, Diallo, please?
Okay. Who was John Bushan? Number one, popular Governor General of Canada.
Yeah, very good. Good. And then make it a little smaller. And then Rashid, can you do this one, please?
What was the view on immigration of John Buchan, popular Governor General of Canada? Number 4, unity in diversity.
Very good. Unity in diversity. Very good. And then Mohammed, can you do this one?
Yeah. What does the word unit mean? Is number one, the people.
of people. Good. And then Zaniba, can you do this one, please?
Where do unit people live? Unit people lives the number one teacher.
Good. In scattered communities across the Arctic. Very good. And then let's see, Gazella, could you please do this one?
Okay, who are the Montes?
Metis.
Metis. The number one. ad- this- Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
number one of mixed Aboriginal and
European.
urban industry.
Yeah, ancestry. Yeah. Yeah, very good. Okay. And then Manal, can you do this one, please?
Okay. Where does the majority of the males live? Live in the number 2 teacher.
Yeah, prairie provinces. Prairie provinces. Good. Then just 1 second. Okay. And then we're back to Diala. Can you do this one, Diala?
What is the speaking background of the Metis population? They speak in English and French, both. Number
Yeah.
3.
Both French and English. Good. And then Rashid, can you do this one?
Is the name of Metis dialect. It's Michif number
Yeah.
2.
Good. Michif number 2. Good. And then Mohammed, can you do this one?
Yeah. Which group of Aboriginal peoples has the largest population in Canada? First Nations. Number 3.
Okay, this is the next reading, but Zaniba, do you want to try this difficult one?
Hmm.
Zaniba,
Yes, teacher.
can you do this one, please?
Yes, yes. What are Canadian two official language? English and First National, English and French.
Very good. Okay. I hope that's a question on your test. Okay. Okay, so let's do some more reading now. Because we're going to the next part. Now let's see. Just had a chance to read. Diala read. Okay. Let's see.
I'm not
Yes.
reading.
Who hasn't read yet?
Me and Diala.
Who's that? Who hasn't read?
Diala and me.
Diala and you. Okay. Okay.
Diala Mohammed Zainab.
Oh,
Okay. Oh, 3 of you. Okay, I got to keep up here. Okay, we're falling behind. Okay, Zaniba, can you do the first one, and then Diala, and then Mohammed? Ladies first.
and okay. English and French. Canadian society today is stemmed largely from the English speaking and French speaking Christian civilizations that were here from Europe by settlers. Is that correct? Teacher? I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Perfect.
English and French defend the reality of the day-to-day life for most people and are their country's official languages. The federal government is required by law to provide services through throughout Canada in English and French.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Okay. So the only things you really need to remember of this is the last one, because you know everything else. The government must have services in English and French anywhere in Canada. Anywhere in Canada, even where we are, there's not much French here, but they have to have it. If somebody wants to speak French, they have to do it in French too. Yeah, and then the two official languages are English and French. Yeah, very good. Okay, so I think you guys know that stuff there. Okay, so let's do, Diallo, would you like to read the next one then, please?
Okay. Today there are 18 million Anglophones, people who speak English as a first language, and 7 million Francophones, people who speak French as their first language, while the majority of Francophones live in the province of Quebec. 1 million Francophones live in Ontario, New Brunswick, and Manitoba, with a smaller presence in other provinces. New Brunswick is the only official bilingual province.
Good. So remember this number here, because this is a question, 18 million Anglophones. Remember that 18 million? And an Anglophone, you know this because we did this before, that's that people who speak English as a first language. That's what an Anglophone is. There's 18 million Anglophones, 7 million Francophones, people who speak French. Try to remember those numbers because those are questions. Most Francophones live in Quebec, but 1 million live in Ontario, New Brunswick, and Manitoba. Yeah, so most live in Quebec. I think that's a question, but that's a pretty easy question, I think. Where do most people who speak French live? They live in Quebec. The other thing is New Brunswick is the only officially bilingual province. It's officially bilingual. Yeah, like Quebec is not bilingual. But New Brunswick is the only officially bilingual province. Okay, so the numbers, 18 million Anglophones, 7 million Francophones. Majority of Francophones are in Quebec. But there's some in the other provinces. And then New Brunswick, the only officially bilingual province. Good. Okay, so let's see. Go up here a bit. And then, Mohammed, would you like to read the next part where it says the Acadians? Acadians.
Yeah. The Acadians are the descendants of French colonists who began settling in what are now the Maritime provinces in 1604. Between 1755 and 1763, during the war between Britain and France, more than 2/3 of the Acadians were deported from their homeland. Despite this ordeal, known as the Great Upheaval.
Yeah, very good. That's a difficult word. Upheaval. Upheaval.
Upheaval.
Yeah, good.
The Acadians served and maintained their own key.
Yeah, unique.
Unique.
Yeah,
Unique.
unique.
Identity today, Acadian culture is flourishing and is a lively part of French-speaking Canada.
Yeah, very good. You got the hard one today, I think, Mo. Very
Yeah,
good.
some word,
Yeah.
new word
Yeah,
about
let's,
this.
yeah, let's look at some of the words because they're interesting. Descendants. Descendants. Does anybody know what descendants means? Descendants.
I don't know.
The
Descendant. Sorry. Is that Rashid? You want to try, Rashid? Descendants?
descendants, there is the children of some people that their grandparents lived from where you come. Yeah, you. I
Yeah,
think.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're the children of, the relatives of French colonists. Yeah. So descendants, descend means to come after. Descend kind of means to go down. So if you look at a family like a tree, it kind of, the branches go down. So descend. So descendants are the branches of the family tree, a family tree. So when you say descendants, like Rashid said, they're the children or relatives of people that came to the Maritime provinces from France in 1604. What are the Maritime provinces? Do you remember the Maritime provinces? What are some of the Maritime provinces? You remember? They're the
Maritime
Atlantic.
province like
Yeah.
Halifax.
Yeah. Like Nova Scotia, yeah, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island,
Newfoundland.
those.
Is
Yeah.
Newfoundland with them?
Newfoundland is a maritime province, but the French weren't really in Newfoundland. That was more the English.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so the French were in the in mostly a lot of them were in New Brunswick. That was a big part for the French people. So, but there were some in Nova Scotia and some in Newfoundland, but mostly Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. So anyways, so the French were living there from 1604. Then the war with the English. Then the English said, okay, we don't want French people living here anymore. So they moved 2/3 of the French people, of the Acadians. They moved them out of the Maritime provinces, out of New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and they moved them all the way down to the south in United States. So there's in the United States now, it's called Louisiana. You might have heard it's a state called Louisiana, and that's where all the French people are. And that's what they have down there. They have like Mardi Gras. They have many French things down there. And those French people in the South now of the United States, they came from Canada. So in Canada, we called them Acadians, and in the United States, they call them Cajun, but it's all the same word. So it's kind of fun. You might have heard down in the south of United States, they have Louisiana and New Orleans. Those French people all came from the Maritime provinces in Canada. They were moved there by the English. Yeah. And they called it the Great Upheaval. Upheaval means to move something. So they moved 2/3, 2/3 of the population down to the United States because the English didn't want French people living in those provinces. And so it's very difficult for the French people, but there is some French Acadian culture today, and a lot of it is in New Brunswick today. You can and some parts of Nova Scotia too. You can still see a lot of French culture. So let's just go some of the ideas here because I want you to know what to answer the question. Acadians, they're descendants of French colonists and Maritime Province 1604. Okay, the British moved them down. They deported them. Deported means to move from your home. They moved them down from their homeland. It's called the Great Upheaval, and there's still some Acadian culture today in the Maritime provinces. So Acadian. Sometimes the questions on the test, what they do, they talk about Aboriginal groups, and sometimes one of the answers is Acadian. They're trying to trick you because the Acadians are not Aboriginal groups. So if they're talking about Aboriginal groups and they say, what is the name of this Aboriginal group? Never answer Acadian, because Acadians are French. They're not Aboriginal. Yeah. But you'll see that whenever you see Aboriginal questions, they always put Acadian as an in. Okay, so let's go down a little bit more. And then now whose turn? Let's go back to everybody's had a chance to read now, right? Everybody's read now? Okay, so let's go. Why don't we get back to I guess Rashid, you started. Why don't you do half of this, Rashid, please? Beckers?
Okay. Kupikers are people, the people of Kupik, the vast majority French-speaking. Most are descendants of 8,500 French settlers from the 1600s, 16th century and the 17th century, and they maintain a unique identity, culture, and the language. The House of Commons recognized in 2006 that the Copicius from a nation within a United Canada. 1 million Anglo-Copicians have a heritage of 250 years and from vibrant part of the Copic fabric.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so do you remember, I don't know if you remember, Geneva, we were doing a practice test, right? And then you said, what are Quebecers? And I said, I'll take the easiest answer. So the answer is Quebecers are the people of Quebec. That's all it is. That's this. They try to make it difficult, but that's the easy. Try to take the easy answer. Quebecers are the people of Quebec. Okay. Now most of them are French speaking. Most of them, and they come from. There's that word descendants. See the descendants? They're descendants of 8,500 French settlers from the 1600s and 1700s. They're descendants. And they have, and there's this word here, unique. You remember that word? What does unique mean? Remember that word unique? Does anybody remember what it means?
Same, special, or different?
Yeah, very special or different, exactly. They have a special identity, culture, and language. Good. And then, so ever since Quebec has become part of Canada, it's been difficult for not difficult, but there's challenges because the Quebec people sometimes think they want to be their own country. And 2 times they have voted on it. 2 times they have voted to leave Canada and be their own country. And the votes were very, very close, but they voted no, but they were very close. So the government said in 2006 that the Québécois, the Quebec people, they are a nation within a united Canada. So they did that to recognize that, they are special and unique in Canada. That's why they do that. So try to remember that. That's a question. The House of Commons recognized in 2006 the Québécois, a nation within Canada. Okay, and then another question is Anglo-Quebecers. They've had so English-speaking Quebecers, not French-speaking, but English-speaking Quebecers have been in Quebec for 250 years, and they are a big part of Quebec. Okay, so let's look at the questions here. Quebecers, the answer, people of Quebec. They're descendants of French letters from the 1600s. 2006, the House of Commons said Québécois form a nation in Canada. And finally, Anglo-Quebecers are a part of the Quebec heritage for 250 years. Those are the kind of the questions they ask. Okay, so let's try to do some more questions. Don't want to hear me talk, I want to hear you talk. So let's see. Let's go to, let's get in line here. Mohammed, would you like to do this one, please?
Yes, the federal government is required by law to provide service uh, throughout Canada in number one, English and French.
English and French. Good. Good. And then Ghazala, can you do this one, please?
How are agrophones? Okay, who are agrophones? Okay, number one, people who speak English as a first language.
And then Diallo, can you do this one, please?
Who are francophones? The francophone people who speak French as their first language.
And then Manal, can you do this one?
Okay, teacher. How many phones are three in Canada today? Okay, teacher. First one, teacher. 18 million.
And then Aniba, can you do this one, please?
Okay. And how many francophone are there in Canada today? 7 million.
Okay. And then Rashid, can you do this one, please?
In which province does the majority of Francophones live in Quebec?
Remember we were saying, I don't know, remember how you pronounce this word? How do you pronounce that? How it looks like again, yeah. If you want to sound like a real Canadian, it looks like Quebec, right? Or Quebec. But if you want to sound, if you want to sound like a real Canadian, makes the QUE, just pretend that's a K and just Quebec. Quebec.
Okay.
Yeah. And then people will think, wow, he's a real Canadian. So that's how, and the people in Quebec, they like to hear that K. It just sounds like Quebec. That's how they pronounce it, just so you know. Okay, good.
Okay.
And then Mohammed, can you do this one? Okay, let's see. Maybe you're muted, Mohammed?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Can you do this one, Mohammed?
Yes. Which province is the only official bilingual province? Number two, New Brunswick.
Good. Okay, and then Ghazala, can you do this one?
Canadians are the descendant of what groups? Number two, Brian, French
colonists began settling in the maritime provinces in 1604. Yeah, very good. And then let me make this a little smaller, just a second. Okay, and then Diallo, can you do this one, please?
What was the great upheaval? Number one, the deportation of more than 2/3 of Acadians from their homeland between 1755 and 1763.
Very good. Very good. Perfect. And then, let's see, I'm gonna give this one to Zaniba. Because she had it in the last test too. What's this one, Zaniba?
Are cares? Oh, what is that? Oh, the people of Quebec. This is I was
Yeah, very good. The people of Quebec. People of Quebec. Yeah, very good. Okay. And then Manal, what's this one?
Cubics are the descendants of what group?
Yeah, I'm just gonna this is a difficult word because
Yeah.
the S and the C together, but you'd just try not to even think of the C. Descendants. Yeah, don't worry about the C. Just pretend it's
Yeah.
not there. So descendants. Yeah, descendants.
Descendants.
Yeah, yeah, that's a
Okay.
difficult word.
Number 3, teacher.
Very good. Okay. And good. And this one is for Rashid, I think, please.
Who recognized in 2006 that the Confucius from the nation within a United Canada House of Commons.
Yeah, very good. Okay. This is pretty much the same question asked in a different way. And then this is for Muhammad, please.
When did the House of Commons recognize that the Quebecs from a nation waiting on a United Canada? Number 1, 2006.
Good. Okay. I'm going to stop there because that's the